Hello, welcome. I have decided to do my TBRs and wrap ups live because I want it to be a discussion. I want to talk about the books that you are reading and the books that I'm reading, and let's just discuss everything together. So I will go ahead and put up on the screen. Tell me about the books that you're currently reading or a recent read that you had and what your thoughts are on it because I want to hear all about it. But I will go ahead and go through the books that I read in September kind of briefly, and then I'll get into some of the upcoming plans for October. My September reading was not great. I enjoyed all the books that I read in September. I just read 3 short books in September, so the amount I just felt like I didn't have time to sit down and read as much. I just felt like I had a lot going on, and so I didn't get through I know whenever I did this last time, I had a whole ton of books on my TBR for September, and I, barely got to any of them. But we'll go ahead and talk about what I read in September. So you may have already seen my review that I posted on my channel yesterday for A Study in Drowning. This is an awesome book if you're looking for gothic dark academia vibes. This is about a architect student who loves literature, and she gets the opportunity to redesign her favorite author's house, and she goes to his house. He lives in a small coastal village, and she goes there and she starts to realize that things here are not as they seem. Things like there might be hidden secrets in this house. And it was just a really fun read. It kind of reminded me of Jane Eyre, I guess maybe particularly the hidden secrets in the house and the gothic vibes. If you want to hear more about this, I have a review for this one on my channel where I talk about it in length. The next book I read in September is a graphic novel. I read Genderqueer. I mostly read this because I wanted to know what all the fuss was about. And this follows a person from, it's told like in a graphic novel, it's a memoir, and it follows this person from the time they are young all the way through college. So you really get like a broad overview of this person's life. And I really like this. I'm not read a whole lot of graphic novels, and I sometimes struggle to get into graphic novels, but I liked this one. It was super easy to get into and read, and I like hearing people's different perspectives. And I felt like this definitely gave that. It gave different perspectives on things. So I really enjoyed that. And then the last book I read was All Systems Red, which is the first book in the Murderbot series. And this one was fantastic. I'm buddy reading the Murderbot series over on Instagram with Spellbound Archive is the person who is hosting the buddy reads. And this had a lot more action than I expected. I expected it, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that, like, oh, it's cozy sci fi. And I expected it just to be like more day to day life of this robot. And it definitely was not. There was definitely a plot, there was definitely things going on. And I enjoyed that aspect of it a fair amount. But I also just loved our main character. So this robot he is a security droid, but he also just doesn't want to hang out with humans, and he wants to read his own um or not just read his own. He wants to watch his own like television shows and whatever. He like basically disconnected himself from like the thing that he has to follow all these commands, but whenever he did that, he found out that he could download like a whole bunch of like online entertainment, and then he was like, I just want to do this for the rest of my life. So that is the last book that I read in September. I think I finished it like the last day of September, and I am going to be starting the next book or the next few books in this series. They're short little novellas throughout October. So I'll probably read a few more books in October, although I don't know. Hopefully, I'll read actually more pages like as well. So that is my October reads. Now talking about, no, that's my September reads. All of these were books that I read in September. And let me know if you want like more in-depth thoughts on All Systems Red or like the Murderbot series in general, because I was debating whether or not I should do like a series review for like the Murderbot books. Because I could just do one like after I finish all of them, like my general overall thoughts of the series. So let me know if that's something that you are interested in. This is a book that I am currently reading. I decided for October that I was going to read all of the Aragon books again. The new Murtag book is coming out in November, and I was like, I'm going to read all the Aragon books and then read the Murtag book when it comes out in November. Whenever I first read these, so I first read these about 10 years ago, and I went back and checked my Goodreads, and literally I gave Aragon 5 stars on Goodreads. I enjoyed Aragon. I think I gave Eldest 4 stars, and then I did not really like Brissinger and Inheritance. So I liked the first 2 books of Aragon, and I did not like the second 2. I am currently rereading Aragon, and I kind of wanted to do a video of like, does Aragon hold up? Like reading it 10 years later. Spoiler alert, it does not hold up. I don't know if I'm gonna finish my reread of it. That's how much I am unfortunately not enjoying this. But like I kind of want to push through. I'm 15% into it. I'm like, I'm only in the beginning. Maybe it gets better. I'm just really not caring for the way the writing style in this book. And I'm just really not connecting to the characters. It feels like it's written at a distance, like it's telling you something that happened over there, not something like we're experiencing with the characters. And I really like my books to be like, I am experiencing this with the characters. On top of that, there's like so many adverbs and adjectives constantly. So if I finish it, I might make a video talking about my experience rereading Aragon 10 years later. But if not, then I won't talk about it again, probably. I mean, I might talk about it in my like books I read in October, but it'll be like DNFs in October. Next book I'm definitely reading in October is Bookshops and Bone Dust. So this was actually on my September TBR, and I did not read it in September, and I really need to read it in October. It is definitely happening. I am planning on starting it this week, and then I should have a review up on my channel for this one in 2 weeks. That is my plan. So this is also a November release, and I do have the ARC for it, which is part of the reason why I'm like, I really need to read this. Like, I was super excited whenever I got the ARC. It's just then I get distracted by other books very easily. The next book, of course, I'm reading in October is more Murderbot books. So the next book is Artificial Condition, which I've not started yet, but I will also be starting that one this week. And then the read along on Instagram is reading a book every week, and they're very short books, so very doable. And that is definitely happening. I'm super excited to continue the rest of these books. And I think there's also a new Murderbot book coming out in November. There's a ton of new sci-fi fantasy books coming out in November. So whenever I do my like new sci-fi fantasy books for November list, I expect it to be very long. I keep like tabs on like whenever I hear about new books, and then I make a video talking about like all the new releases. My new October release video is late. I usually try to release them before the start of the month, but my new October releases video will be coming out tomorrow. Next book I'm reading in October is The Great Hunt, and I really do intend to finish this one in October. So this is a current read. I am partway through it. I am watching the series. If you can't tell, I'm doing video reviews for that, although I am very behind on my video reviews for the series. And then I am also going to be reading the entire Wheel of Time series throughout the next year, because it's probably going to take me all of next year to read all of the Wheel of Time books. I really need to get my review for Eye of the World out on my channel, and then I will be doing a review for each book as I read through them. I am kind of debating what my next like video series is going to be after I finish watching The Wheel of Time and doing reviews for all of the Wheel of Time books. So obviously I will be doing reviews for The Wheel of Time. Well, I did my video series currently is doing reviews for the Wheel of Time show, and then I will be doing reviews for the Wheel of Time books throughout the next year. So I feel like that's also a video series that I'm doing, but I feel like that's going to be a lot slower than the show just because it's going to take me longer to get through all of the books. So I am kind of wondering what I'm going to do, if I'm going to maybe do another like book versus movie slash show series, or if I'm going to do some sort of like book series or some other type of video series that I have on my channel. I'm just like kind of, have ideas rattling around in my head at this point. Another book I want to get to in October is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And this is primarily because the show or the movie is coming out in November. Now, I don't plan on going and seeing the movie in theaters, but I do plan on seeing the movie eventually. And I have not read the book yet. So I want to make sure I get to the book and then watch the movie. So I might be doing a review for the book on my channel, or I might do a like movies and book review after I've watched the movie. Haven't decided yet, but I plan on getting to this one very soon. And then the final book that I have on my TBR for October is The Scorpio Races, which is a book I don't think anyone will care about, but I'm also going to make a video on it because in this book, so this book is set, I do have the physical copy here. This book is, oh, wow. This book is set in like September. It's set in October and November, and it is about these people that live on this island, and there are these flesh-eating horses in the water, and they actually go out and try to capture the horses, and then they have a horse race on this island where people race these flesh-eating horses. And our protagonist decides to enter the race, of course. And well, we actually have like two perspectives. I have read this book previously, and there is mention of this food in this book called November cakes. So I kind of want to do a video where I'm like reading the Scorpio races and making November cakes. So I have like a recipe for it and I kind of want to do that. I don't expect many people to read it or to watch that video, but it's fun for me. So I want to do it. So those are all my books that I am planning on reading in October. And then, of course, I talked about the ones that I read in September. Hello, welcome. Tell me about what you're currently reading or a book that you read recently and how you're enjoying it, because I want to hear from you guys. There's like so many books that I could read in all the months. And I might do another one of these where I'm talking about all the books I plan on reading before the end of the year because I have too many on that list, more than I can actually read. But I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys reading? Are you reading anything that's like fall specific? Because I talked about the Scorpio races, like this takes place in October and November. So, but like even I don't know, I kind of imagine like fantasy books are fall books, and I know that's like kind of ridiculous, but there's like a lot of like token celebrations in September that I just kind of think of like start of fall and fantasy. So, I don't know, what about you guys? Whoops, now all the books on my shelf are falling over. I don't know if you can see that. Do you guys keep count of how many books you read each month? Oh my gosh, I've heard about this series. I'm reading Holy Sister and I'm obsessed. I've raced through the whole trilogy and I'm scared for the end. I have these books on my TBR. There's like a Discord group that I'm in that was like, buddy, reading these books, and I almost joined it. But I just have way too many books that I'm trying to read right now. But maybe next year I will get to those books because I've not read a Mark Lawrence book. And I feel like everyone talks about him all the time. So I definitely want to get into that series. I'm so glad to hear that you are enjoying it, that you're loving it that much. That is great. Do you guys tend to read more in the fall or less in the fall? Because I would say I probably read most in the winter whenever it's cold outside. But I don't know, this past month was just busy for me, so I didn't read that much. I'm reading James Patterson, the second book, heading towards the end of it now, chapter 97. Is this you were reading? I'm trying to remember which series of his you were reading. Um, is it like the Alex Rider books? Are you enjoying it? I think that's awesome that you're almost finished it. I've only read, I think, 2 James Patterson books. So I've not read the Alex Rider series. So yeah, that is the one you're reading, cool. I've not read that one, but I'm really happy to hear you're enjoying it. I know his books are very popular. The Fugitive, that's book 2. Okay, cool. I'm honestly not familiar with the titles simply because I haven't read them, but that's really cool. I trying to remember which ones I read of his. He had I read I think 2 of his young adult books. So he had like Confessions of a Murderer or something like that. And then he had like there's this one where like the people get superpowers and they can fly. I don't remember the name of those that series. Oh, you're finding it okay? Yeah, that happens sometimes. Well, I think I am going to get headed out here. I plan on working on my next Wheel of Time video review the rest of today because I need to rewatch that episode and then make my review for it. So, those are my plans for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. It was good seeing you all here, and happy reading, and I'll see you in another video.